Sanding drywall is easily one of the most miserable chores in home renovation. It is dusty, it is backbreaking, and if you are doing it by hand, you are probably going to be finding white powder in your hair for a week. This VEVOR sander tries to solve that, and honestly, it does a surprisingly decent job of making the process feel less like a punishment. The first thing you notice is the weight. It is not exactly a feather, but the balance is decent enough that you aren't fighting the tool while you are working on the walls. The handle extends quite a bit, which is a lifesaver when you are trying to reach those high corners on a ceiling without dragging a ladder around every 30 seconds. The motor packs 850 watts, and you have 7 different speed settings to play with. You will probably find yourself sticking to the lower or mid-range speeds most of the time, because when you crank this thing up to the full 1750 RPM, it gets pretty aggressive. It is nice to have that extra power on tap, though, especially if you are dealing with some stubborn patches of joint compound. One of the clever design choices here is the LED strip wrapped around the head. It sounds like a gimmick, but when you are working in a room with poor lighting, it highlights every single imperfection and ridge in the mud that you would have otherwise missed until you put the first coat of paint on. Now about the dust. The vacuum bag setup is helpful, but let's be real, it is not going to catch every single speck of dust. It does a solid job of keeping the air breathable and the mess manageable, but you are still going to want to wear a mask. The brush head is a nice touch, though, because it flexes just enough to keep the suction tight against the wall without the sander feeling like it is suction cupped to the surface. You can even pop off a segment of the brush to get right into those tight corners, which saves a lot of tedious hand sanding later. If there is a downside, it is that the build is mostly plastic. It feels sturdy enough for a DIY project or a weekend renovation, but if you are a professional contractor using this every single day, you might find yourself wishing for something a bit more industrial. Also, the hose connection can be a little finicky to get perfectly airtight. Still, for the price, it is hard to complain. It folds down into a compact size for storage, which is a huge win if your garage is already overflowing with tools. If you have a big room to finish and you are tired of the manual labor, this thing is going to save you a massive amount of time and effort. It is not perfect, but it is definitely a massive step up from a sanding block and a lot of patience.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.